sharing my screen right now. I'm going to be logging into my JMagic tool. This is the free designer that comes with the MarkMagic software. So any of you end users that are currently printing your forms through MarkMagic, you'll have access to the JMagic tool if you're already using it. If you want to get a link to download it, just send us an email later. We'll get you a download for your appropriate version of JMagic. I'm just going to log into the designer, start up into my user library where my forms are stored. And we're going to open up one of my invoices. It's under our laser printer driver. And anyone who's been using JMagic for a little while, probably a very familiar view for you. All the different fields available here. All the detail in the middle, the totals at the bottom. This invoice here, though, it's a little bit souped up. I got a lot of really cool things on it that I can't wait to show you. But this is a legal size document. But normally your forms are, I guess, letter size. But that just goes to show you all the different options available in JMagic. Even different size sheets of paper available. This one's using a color laser driver. You'll see some color enhancements on this, the PrintTransformer. But if you take a look at the form as is, when you print this, the typical spool file information, if you see the regular text that the VAI application generates, all the raw data that's in the spool file that gets generated, gets handed off to MarkMagic and eventually gets filled onto the form. A lot of these things at the bottom, for example, like this totals section, you don't have much control over whether or not the headers show the black box is, if you're not using PrintTransformer, that black box is always there. If you're doing a multiple page invoice, for example, maybe you want to turn that off when there's no totals. The logo up here, the top left, for example, and then the address, that can all be changed. And you'll see when I turn on the print preview, you'll notice a bunch of different things changing. So it's another great feature in JMagic, by the way, being able to do live print previews. I'm actually picking that spool file that's already sitting out here on my server side. There's a spool file that I have with raw data in it using real data here. I'll do a preview. And we can see a few things happening here. The logo changed. The address changed. The font styling changed on certain lines here that had the part number. We'll get into how that happened. You notice the bottom total section is totally gone. If I go to the next page, because this is a multi-page invoice, if I go next, you can see reappearing are the header fields, the lines, the totals show up. This total is showing up red, bold, larger font. All of these things are being controlled. All these dynamic features are being controlled by PrintTransformer. So at the top here, PrintTransformer conditions. Part of our PrintTransformer add-on is the ability to add logic to every single field on your format. So each format that you have, it's not just limited to, one format, two format. You can add conditions to any format that you have in MarkMagic. I'm adding a whole list of conditions here to this format to customize it and make it look exactly as I want. For example, that bottom section has its own condition that I've created. And these conditions are basically just if this, then do that. There's a whole test and then all the actions you want to happen. For example, this totals one, if we just take a peek at it, we're looking at any of the fields on the format. These are all the different available fields to check. There's operators here. We can, is it greater than, less than, does it contain, so we're doing basically is the total equal to, and then we're just leaving it blank. And then with that, anytime the total is blank, we can do a whole slew of things. You can see I've got turn off, turn on certain fields, moving fields around. You can drill down into these fields themselves and move, different coordinates. If I were to add another action here and just show you, you can drill down into every single field on the format and manipulate their properties based on that test being true. I can get in, I'll just pick a field at random just to show you. You can change the row, column, move fields around, change their font based on some test being true or not, point size, make things bold, change colors. So that's how I did, for example, if I cancel out of all of this, because I've got a lot of different conditions here. For the total section at the bottom, which one had the balance highlight, excuse me. So I called it balance highlight. If we look at that one, is the total order field greater than, and I just picked 2000. So maybe that's a requirement. Maybe your business wants to make a certain field more visible when it's above a certain value. And then we picked the total from here and said, make it Arial font, make it 20 points, make it bold, make it red. And we cancel out of that, back up. And I'll do the preview once again. And you can see when there is a total, first of all, when on the last page, it's because it's above 2000, it's red and bold. If I had some data that was less than 2000, it would print normal, just like these other guys down here. So, and then another thing too on this one, you may have noticed when I showed you all the conditions on here, every single line I'm testing to highlight, because this specific customer, if I go back to the preview real quick, sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit, but there's a lot of neat things on this I want to show you. There was a request saying, well, we don't know where the item number is going to be on these lines, but when there is an item number, we want it to be bold. They're having trouble finding the item number in the details section. If I go to the next page, you can see it's bold on the second line now and the fifth line, and wherever the item number shows up, it's bold. So I'm essentially just checking for unit of measure. If there's a unit of measure on this line, then I know that the item number on the column next to it needs to be bold. And that's just, one way to be able to satisfy that requirement. We're testing every line unit of measure. Is it not equal to blanks? That's another cool thing. Does it have something in it? Is it not equal to blanks? And then if so, we're changing the font on the text field next to it to Arial, 10 point, and then bold. So that's the way to essentially check every line in the detail section and highlight just the items you want bold, and then the rest of them will stay the same. So that's, a very awesome way to be able to, tweak your form exactly as you need it, and highlight certain things when you want them to. And I thought a cool thing to do, for example, this barcode up here. Maybe when you're shipping to a certain zip code, 11780. Let's say when our forms go to 11780, we don't want a barcode to show, but every other time we do. So quick example I'll show you. PrintTransformer, conditions. We'll add a new one. Barcode off. We'll add a new test. We'll find the data field that contains the destination address, and we can say contains. Does it contain 11780? So does the destination address contain 11780? Okay. And then in action, we'll just say, we'll find the barcode, click it, toggle off. There's a button right there. So it's very simple. Search the destination address. If there's a zip code equaling that, toggle that barcode off. I'll hit OK. I'll hit save. And we'll do a print preview now. Let's see what we get. It's gone. So if I were to print a form that had a different destination zip code that wasn't 11780, then the barcode will show because that test failed. So, very cool. 2 seconds. I added a an option there. So, you don't have to worry about managing tons of different forms. I was able to create two totally different looking forms with just using PrintTransformer. I didn't have to have multiple copies of my MarkMagic format with a little change on one and a little change on another. It becomes a nightmare trying to manage, 10 different formats in MarkMagic if you just want to have one with a different logo and one with a bigger font size somewhere else. So you can consolidate everything onto one main format, have PrintTransformer conditions, a whole list of them, change up the way the format looks, and it's all on one, easier to manage format. And you get, with it all set up the right way, you get something that looks, awesome, just like this. So if I go next, and you can see all the different things happening, the logo changing, the totals. Very, very highly customizable, almost limitless with what you can do, all the different tests and operators and combinations, comparing fields together, moving things around. So you guys can get a great idea of what can be done with the PrintTransformer add-ons.